Hey guys, what's up? This is Don and welcome to a quick tips video for Cinema 4D and After Effects. I'm just making this based on an old comment which I saw a while back, and somebody had asked me how I do these light flickers animations. This is an example. As you can see, they just sort of turn on one by one. And this is actually very simple, and I'm actually going to show you only how to do it in Cinema 4D, but the aspects and the techniques are exactly the same for After Effects. So I'm gonna go to the spline text here and let's just make a quick comp. So drop that into an extrude NURBS and I'm just gonna type in flicker, and then I'll duplicate the spline text, get a circle, give it a radius of maybe 2 or so, and then drop these into a sweep NURBS. So we have like a rim at the front here, like a lip. Okay, I'm gonna decrease the radius of the circle to like 1 or something. And then imagine, there's a lot of cameras, animation, effects, whatever, but there really isn't right now. But it's enough to show the effect. If I go to the luminance channel, I'm gonna put that on and drop this material onto the sweep NURBS. So there's actually a bunch of ways in which you can try to do this, and it just depends on the situation. But one which will always work is if you animate the visibility of this layer using the display tag in C4D. So if I right click, I can go to Cinema 4D tags and display tag right here. And if you go to the tag properties, you're going to see where it says visibility. Now we're actually not going to animate 100% or 0%. As you can see, when I tip the box, I can adjust the visibility of this, and when I hit render, you can see that at 2% we can barely see anything, but at 47% we can sort of half see it, even though it's almost there anyway. So we're actually not going to animate this visibility option per se. What we're going to do is to set this to 0. So right now there's nothing there. What we're actually going to animate is the use of the visibility function at 0%. So we're going to animate this being either switched off or switched on. Okay, so and actually that produces a vice versa how can I say, result. If this is on, this is off, and if this is off, this is on. This is because on means 0, off means 100%. Okay, so enough rambling, let's just do this. My project is at 30 FPS, and every time I do flicker animations at 30 FPS, I will set a keyframe every 2 frames. However, when I'm at 24, I may only set every frame, so 1, 2, 3, and 4. But it depends on how fast you want this to play. So on our display tag, let's go to frame 10, and we are going to set a keyframe. So hold Control and click the circle next to the word use in line with visibility, and then we're gonna go 1 frame forward, and let's turn that off, and then set a keyframe. So we've just set a keyframe of this just flickering on in 1 hit. I'm gonna advance 2 frames, so we're at 11 right now. Let's go to 13 and let's set another keyframe. In fact, we need to set another keyframe at 12, and then at 13, this is where we, oops, that was not 12. Okay, this is 12. Let's set a keyframe. Let's go to 13, and we're gonna turn on the visibility again, and let's advance another frame. Let's insert another keyframe, and then at 15 we'll turn that off and bring it back. So maybe that was a little confusing, but you get the idea. You basically just want to animate this in a way which looks okay for your animation, and you can actually do more flickers than just this double flicker which I use most of the time. So that's one way of doing that. Another way might be to use the compositing tag and then animate the scene by camera option. But I find with this is, if this was reflective, in fact, that's actually what happened in this video right here. When this thing's turned on, if you rewind the animation to where this close-ups, you can actually see there's already a rim here, and this was because I animated the scene by camera control on this edge. However, the reflection behind it could already see it anyway, so all I did there was just brighten up the edges instead of actually bringing them back from nothing. So if you use the scene by camera control, you also don't get a live representation of what you're doing, whereas with the display you do. So that's two ways, and yet another way could be to actually animate the luminance switching on and off on the material. You would have to take off the color channel, but the problem with this is when it's off you will get a black line, and then when it's on it's white, so that's okay, I guess. It just depends on what you're doing, and each method works best in a different situation. And then yet another method, this is the fourth method, which I probably use more so now, is I basically would separate my scene into different renders. So I would finish, constructing the scene and whatever, and then I would physically render two different projects, or render the project two different times, one with just the text and one with just the element which I want to flicker. This doesn't always work because sometimes I may not have that type of control, but if I do, then I will use it. And then in After Effects, what I do is bring the two renders together and then animate the opacity of the render which I want to flicker, and that gives me a lot of control in post-production. And yeah, so I hope that clears that up. I hope you found this helpful, and if you want to flicker some real lights, you can actually just perhaps animate the intensity. Who knows? So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. And don't forget to check out the website. It's looking pretty good right now, and I plan to post a lot more content on there soon. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.